On this episode of Simply, we're hitting the track in Seekonk. Then spend a day at a charming beach town. We'll visit a delicious new shop in Providence's East Side. Then we got a sneak peek at a historic renovation in Newport. All before Chef Nick gets us ready to go back to school. Simply New England is presented by Cranston's Wines and More and Star. Work where you love. Hey folks, I'm your host, Becky Gibble, and this is Simply New England. Now, you insiders may know that I've spent this summer gallivanting all over the country. So to celebrate my return to my favorite corner of this nation, we're here at the Foster Fairgrounds on Food Truck Night, and I'm going to sample as many local delicacies as possible. Good thing these things are adjustable. Come on, let's check it out. First snack choice, gotta be a New England classic, Dell's Lemonade. The only question is, do you go lemon, watermelon, or a mixture of the two? I say grass can't be greener if you're on both sides. Pro tip, pay the extra quarter for the salty pretzel stick. Perfect compliment. I'm getting all sugared up so I can keep up with the folks at the Seekonk Speedway, also known as the Concrete Palace. They're open on weekend nights till it gets too cold. Let's check it out and see what all the excitement's about.
Seekonk Speedway has been known as like the cement palace because everywhere you look, there's cement.
I love this track. I've always have loved this track since I was a kid. It's the holy grail around this place, if you ask me. I love racing here.
I would categorize Seekonk Speedway as like a bull ring. Very tight racing.
2-wide racing is common in my division. 3-wide racing. I've done more 3-wide racing this year than I have in the last 10 years. We average 80 miles an hour, which means we're doing roughly 70 miles an hour in the turns and 90 miles an hour down the straightaway.
This is speed. You're really flying. It's a small track. You're gonna bump and bang.
It's just big enough to get up there and get some speed and small enough to not be so dangerous. You're gonna total into a wall doing 120 miles an hour.
Over the years, racing has become a safer sport. But it's still a contact sport. Things will happen. You get bruises, you get bumps.
East Coast Towing and Recovery quick on the scene to check on the driver and to help him out.
But just the nature of the sport.
There's a lot to this. It's a lot more than just going left.
We've got fans that have been coming here since the beginning, 1946. Their sons and daughters, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren are spending their Saturdays here because it becomes part of their family. They grow up here. I grew up here.
Things have been getting better here, since COVID especially. It's incredible. Stands are filling right up, and they enjoy it.
It just becomes the thing to do. Like if you're not here on a Saturday, it's like something's up. What's happened? Is there an emergency? Is everybody okay?
And it's not just that 20 minutes out on the racetrack. It's the people around you, the fans, your crew. You don't do this alone. You do this with a bunch of people. But it's that team that you create to get that car out here, or your family sitting in the grandstands, because they're the same way. Their family is racing. The people sitting on the back stretch are the same way.
You'll be amazed at how much fun it can be.
The competitors that compete here have been doing it for years, and they do it because they love it. They get out of that race car tired as heck, but they still come back the next week because they need that adrenaline rush, that euphoric feeling you get when you win a race. It's addicting, that feeling.
You get out there and you win, you get on a podium, it's a lot of fun to look at all the people cheering you on. It's what I like to do. It's my thing. It's what I was meant to do.
If you're a racer, you've always been a racer. It's in your heart, it's in your blood, you'll always do it. Whether you do it for 3 years or 30 years, you're always a racer. So you always want to compete with everybody.
And that's the beauty of the sport, is welcoming new people in, getting them that same type of feeling that they gotta be a part of this.
For my next tasty treat, I'm looking for the perfect snack to take to the beach. So I figured, what could be better than frisky fries? Its own little carton of fried carbs topped in a delicious schmoo with a pop of protein on top. Oh. I'm gonna grab one of these. You all head to the beach. Let's talk Montauk. Just a short ferry ride from Block Island transports you to a world of great food, shopping, and of course, beautiful beaches. Montauk boasts 6 state parks and is particularly famous for its surf culture and beachside charm. Located on the South Fork of Long Island, Montauk is known for its coastline, which features over 5,000 acres of public beaches, including Hither Hills State Park, Navy Beach, and Ditch Plains, known for its surf and views of the iconic bluffs at Shadmore State Park. Along every corner of Montauk is another sand-lined paradise. After drying off, head on over to Camp Hero State Park, a former military base with 415 acres of diverse landscape, including heavily wooded areas and a long expose of beachfront. Be sure to look out over the bluffs and check out the beautiful views. But don't get too close. Follow one of the snake-like trails designed for hiking, biking, and horseback riding down to the water and take in the rocky coastline. At the end of the trail, you'll find the Montauk Point Lighthouse, which was commissioned by George Washington in 1792 and is the 4th oldest lighthouse in the country. In 2012, it was named a National Historic Landmark, one of only 12 lighthouses to be so honored. And sitting on its perch overlooking the Atlantic, it's easy to see why. From there, explore the newly renovated stacked stone trail at the base of the lighthouse and enjoy the crashing waves. After your hikes, catch your breath and head over to Gosman's Dock for some quaint local shopping and a big old bowl of soft serve to cool down. Still hungry? I mean, it is vacation, right? Head into the center of town for some more shopping or stop into one of the many restaurants that line the charming street. At the end of the day, sit on the rocks at Gin Beach and watch the boats come in. Montauk is truly a slice of summertime heaven. You guys, I've got some work to do. Take a break. We'll be right back. Hey folks, welcome back. For my next snack, I was looking for something a little more well-rounded. So we're here at Incredibowl. Get it? Speaking of incredible, next up, we connect with a husband and wife team who have opened a fantastic new cheese shop in Wayland Square. Yum. Let's check it out.
My name is Jeff DeMeo, and we are at Eastside Cheese and Provisions in Wayland Square, Providence.
Eastside Cheese and Provisions is a place in Wayland Square where you can come and purchase a wonderful selection of artisanal cheeses, great accompaniments like honeys, jams, cured meats, or order a pre-made board for your event or party. When we found this space, we were really lucky because it's larger than a typical cheese shop. We wanted to incorporate a lot of art because we are in the creative capital here in Providence, and use local artists that we've fallen in love with throughout the years. But also we wanted the space to be really bright, inviting, a space for the community really to come together, have great food, learn about the artisan cheesemaking world, and hopefully make it their own space too.
Love to talk about our products. We're extremely passionate. Everything in our store is meant to be shared with someone you like or someone you love, and I love being a part of that. You know, we've always said that, you know, food is our love language, and having a space where we can actually live by that and share wonderful food that other people can enjoy and retell some of the stories that we tell to them it's what intrinsically motivates us to come in every day.
My husband Jeff has been in the industry for nearly 25 years. Along the way, we've really fallen in love with a number of cheesemakers and artisan producers of all sorts of things. So you'll be able to discover anything from a really beautiful single grain pasta to a jarred sauce that you may not have discovered before, to zero proof drink options, and of course, lots and lots and lots of cheese.
The response from the community has been overwhelmingly humbling since day one, and just the endless stream of wonderful people coming in to enjoy the space for the first time, but the most exciting thing is when they come back to enjoy the space again and to experience Eastside Cheese again.
Come and see us. My husband and I are really welcoming. We love to bring people in, take you on a little cheese journey. We know this is different. A lot of the products you haven't seen before. Maybe some of the cheese names are hard to pronounce or describe, but once you come in and kind of get a tour, start to understand the background of some of these, I think you'll fall in love, and there's absolutely something for everybody at Eastside Cheese.
Next up, we head to Newport to get a sneak peek at Rosecliff Mansion before their grand reopening to show off their historic renovation. I'm gonna eat this. You all head over.
My name is Mike Tabor, and we are standing in front of Rosecliff, which is our recently restored event house.
Since the 2nd of January, this house has been closed for a massive amount of preservation.
The scale was enormous. It started out as a balustrade replacement and a roof replacement. That grew into probably 10 other projects because the masons and the roofing contractor did so well. They finished 2 months ahead of schedule under budget. So I was able to get permission to keep them here and continue on a laundry list of other projects that greatly needed to be done.
This is a very expensive project, as you know, $7.4 million. That's not something that you easily finance, but there were so many projects, part of it, that had to be done.
Everything from sandblasting and painting all the metal on the railings and the front doors, where we discovered some gold leafing that we had that restored.
Every single baluster along the roof line had to be replaced. The cupids above the ballroom had to be replaced. The roof had to be redone.
We rebuilt the several hundred feet long wall along the cliff walk.
A major cleaning, not only of the building, but also of all the statuary. The new garden, the cour d'amour, had to be completely redone. So yeah, a lot of work on this project. This is the biggest renovation project that we have ever undertaken. What I'm most proud of is we hired locally, we got the job done on time, in fact earlier, and we kept it under budget. This is such an important house to the Preservation Society. This is the house that many people come to get married, to go to a party, and also many of our lectures are held here. Now, this is a house protected for many generations to come.
We'd love people to come and see it. That's our whole goal here is, not just to preserve these houses, but for people to come and enjoy them.
Y'all, we've got a lot more eating to do. I'm gonna do a little yoga, maybe make some room. We'll be right back. All of this eating is really making me hungry. So next up, we catch up with our chef on the scene, Nick Rabar, for some breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maura Roach.
And I'm Win Rabar.
Let's get to today's top story. It's back to school season, and the question on everyone's mind is, what's for lunch? Let's go to our correspondent, Nick Rabar, who took to the streets to see what the kids are saying. Nick, what's going on out there?
Thanks, Maura and Win. I've been asking around to see what's in the lunchboxes this year, and here's what the kids are saying.
Probably just like a ham and cheese sandwich.
I like bringing like a turkey and cheese sandwich. That's usually my go-to snack. Like a bunch of snacks like Goldfish, Doritos.
Welch's, chips, chewy bars.
Well, there you have it. Anyway, let's tackle another hard-hitting question, and that's what are we making today? And that's my lunchbox ready chicken fajita pockets. Let's get to it. Got a preheated pan here, medium-high heat. Fire in a little bit of oil, and we're gonna start out by searing some chicken breasts here, which we're gonna just put right in. Start to hear that sizzle. And once that chicken is nice and cooked evenly, I'm gonna start putting in some peppers. I've got one of each color, a little yellow pepper, some red, green pepper, some red onion. Now we'll give that a stir. We wanna just soften those peppers and onions. Now we gotta add a little bit of seasoning to this. And there's a lot of great spice mixes out there, but of course you know we're gonna make our own. Mine's gonna contain chili powder, cumin, oregano, paprika, garlic powder, and kosher salt. So season with courage. Go in with all of it. If you measured right, I'm using about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of each one, and you can totally adjust based on your own flavor profile. And you can see here how this is starting to look like how a fajita is supposed to look. So now we're gonna transform this into your everyday fajita into something that's gonna travel really well for a school lunch. So we're gonna take this away from the heat, and ideally, you'll cool it all the way back down, maybe in your fridge for 20, 30 minutes before we start to turn these into fajita pockets. So I took puff pastry and I cut it into these little circles. You can use almost anything at home, a cup or a mug, anything that's about that size, about 4 inches. I'm gonna place it on the board, and we'll start by just egg washing the edges, just a little around the outside. Then I've got some shredded cheddar cheese, and I'm gonna go in with a bit of the filling. And you can see how the chicken is really nicely caramelized now, and there's a generous amount of peppers and onions, so it's totally full of flavor. You kind of roll it over like that, almost like you're making a pierogi or an empanada. You give it a press. That's gonna seal that in, and with that egg wash as it sits, it's gonna seal up perfectly, okay? And once they're rolled, we just brush the top with a little bit of egg wash. Try to get it nice and even, a thin layer. Now it's oven ready, and we're just gonna go in 450 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes. And look at those. I mean, those are perfectly golden brown. Let's see what's going on inside. Nice and steamy, good cheese pull there. You could serve them as is, or you could serve them with some sauce on the side. My kids love a little salsa, they love a little guacamole. And boom, there's our lunchbox ready chicken fajita pockets. Well, that's it from out here. Let's take it back to the studio.
Thanks, Nick. And until we meet again, keep on cooking.
Hey, that's my line.
Not today, it isn't.
Today's cocktail is going to be the Gold Rush. So he's going to start with 2 ounces of Cooper's Mark small batch bourbon. You're going to use 3/4 of an ounce of a homemade honey syrup, 1 part water, 1 part honey. And then you're going to use 3/4 of an ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And I wanted to add a little bit of these bitters as well. And you're going to use 4 drops. Pop the top on, give it a smack. Strain into an ice-filled rocks glass. Express a lemon peel. Wipe the rim of your glass. And garnish. There is the Gold Rush.
Well, folks, that's our show. And you know something? It was awful. Awful big and awful good. We'll see you next time. I gotta go somewhere to lie down and digest. Ooh. Simply New England is presented by Cranston's Wines and More and Star. Work where you love.